Hello and welcome. This is Eagle Eye 621, and what you're looking at behind me is the fastest XP farm in Minecraft Java 1.14. This XP farm is capable of pumping out 198,000 XP per hour. It's enough to take you from level 0 to 30 in under 30 seconds, and to get you from level 0 to 100 in under 10 minutes. I will take you through the various components and explain how it works. There will also be a world download in the description, as well as some timestamps to jump to the various parts. But let me first start off by giving a couple of people some well-deserved credit. The bamboo farm design that I used on the left, you can see, is an El Mango design, and the cactus farm I used on the right is a design I find from Techman88. And a special thanks to OMG Craft for featuring my small Foliomatic XP farm, which you'll see an iCard in the top corner for. That link from him helped me go from about 60 subscribers to passing 1,000 subs yesterday. And I got a lot of questions about whether that small farm was expandable, and this is the answer: a solid yes. So on the world download, both of these farms are off. You need to turn them on. If I tried to download them with the farms on, they would all break as soon as you turn them on. So this switch right here turns on the bamboo farm, and this switch over here turns on the cactus farm, and it also opens this up. When you turn the cactus farm off, there's still some cactus generation just from the normal growth. This will block it. So let's start with the modules. Or actually, let me start by showing you the lag effect of this, which is surprisingly not a lot. So the frames really don't hurt when you aren't close enough to see the pistons moving or have the items render. So even on my not super fancy laptop, this is not really hard on my computer. Now when I get closer, you will see the frames start to drop. This farm is scalable, and I will show you how to do that by taking you through the components. And this right here is your Furnace XP component. And this is optimized to be as big as you can get it. So what we have is 25 furnaces on the left and 25 furnaces on the right. Each of these furnaces has a hopper underneath it, and those feed into a dropper, which has a straightforward automatic dropper clock. When there's an item in there, it powers the comparator, which lifts up the sticky piston to have two observers facing into each other to spit out the cactus green. Now on top, and you can see the frames are starting to hurt when we get in here, we utilize two water streams, which work the same for both. We have glass panes. Now you can replace these with iron bars if you want, that just prevent the water from spreading over. And we have an ice water stream where we have fence gates to block the water in order to continue the stream moving on forward. And the items are all perfectly aligned because we align them at the top, and that actually carries over. So you can see from the other side that we also have a line of redstone dust that's on a solid block. Does have to be a solid block, and a lever which will power the solid block and lock the hoppers to allow you to pull the die out and get your XP. Now the way that this works XP wise is each smelted cactus is worth 1 XP, which is unusually high for a smeltable item. Now we are operating at the absolute limits of how far you can build this, because the hopper speed is 9,000 items per hour, meaning 2.5 items per second, meaning that the 25 furnaces that it's pulling the die from is exactly fast enough. So when you do use this farm, in order to keep it as optimized as possible, the purpose of these trapdoors right here, and there's one on the other side, is so you can jump in and actually reach these hoppers to clean them out when you take out the XP. Because as you've locked all of the hoppers, you will have some build up there. It won't grow any more than the amount of time you have it locked, but it also won't zero itself out. It's just something to keep in mind when you actually do utilize this. Now this right here in the middle is just a tube to get all the cactus green to die. You can obviously collect this if you want. If you have use for 198,000 cactus green each hour, then by all means you can make a collection system for that. Now each one of these layers is identical except for the way in which the item streams move. So you can see every other item stream is going in the other direction. Now in order to really call it a farm, I think you have to have one source of input. So what we have up top is we have the item streams for the cactus and for the bamboo. And you can see that as they come in, we push them along a double chest, which perfectly aligns the items so that they're close enough over the hoppers to be able to be picked up, but they also still get the benefit of the ice water streams. And as we go all the way across, you'll see that because there's no momentum left or right, when they hit the next level, they continue on that perfect alignment, and we continue across, and then again drop another level and back, drop another level and back this way, another level, and so on and so forth until we come to the end where I thought fittingly we have the items that make it across drop onto a cactus to be destroyed. Now you do want to make sure that when you make a farm like this, that you do have some items that continue down these streams in order to be destroyed, because that means that you are getting items to the very end, which is important to make sure that these farms do remain fully fueled. Now, this is where first, each one of these layers is obviously scalable. You can take this design and continue to build it up and build another layer next to it with a water stream that pushes the items back up to the top of the next one. So you can expand this farm as far as your PC or server can manage to hold these items. Now, just for some additional comparison, the current fastest XP farm in the game is a Guardian farm, which maxes out at 180,000 XP per hour, and that has to do with how fast your player can actually absorb the orbs. Using these furnace farms actually gets around that, and theoretically you could get essentially infinite XP, or out at least as far as your render distance will carry in order to have these farms running at all times. So let's actually start with the bamboo side over here. And you can see, as I mentioned originally, these are Ilmango design farms, with the only real change being just this on-off switch, so I could have a universal on-off switch at the bottom. And half is faced in one direction and half in the other, just for mostly aesthetics. They output into the water stream, which brings this up and across, which joins with the output from this side, and brings us back to the top where they're lined up and are sent into the furnace farm itself. Now this design over here, as I said, was from Techman 88. The main difference I did here was I just used these metal trapdoors instead of wood, and also a different fence gate. Nothing really special there. And then I added this on-off as well as the water streams. So this is another zero-tick farm, as you can tell, which utilizes this mechanic and this clock to push. Well, I'll send you over to his video and he can explain it and show you how to make it. And then I just took it and I made it significantly bigger to match what I needed in terms of the output for this farm. So let's talk materials for this furnace part. Let me back away a little bit so that my frames don't hurt as much. So starting with the stats, as I mentioned, this farm can do 198,000 XP per hour, which is 55 XP per second. It takes just over 25 seconds to go from 0 to 30 and 9.4 minutes to get from 0 to 100. Now this is the per slice requirements for the farm. That is, each one of these layers is one slice. So you need 50 furnaces, and this is where you get your XP, 152 hoppers, and that's in order to have the output as well as both inputs to those furnaces. You need 2 observers and a dropper and comparator and sticky piston, and that's for your automatic dispensing system. 53 packed ice as well as 106 glass panes and 13 fence gates, and this is part of your water stream. And you need a lot of glass blocks, although these can be any blocks, they don't have to be glass. But you do need 50 solid blocks separately to be able to lock the hoppers, along with 50 redstone dust and 2 levers, as well as 12 water sources or 12 streams that you need to be able to create, and 29 trapdoors. All but 2 of those are optional if you want to have this pipe down the middle that will funnel all of that cactus green into a disposal system. And then input requirements, you need to have 198,000 cactus per hour going into the farm. That is the absolute minimum. And it's because the requirements of the furnaces, this is how much they can smelt, which is also the same as your XP output. Now in this design over here, I think it's outputting about 110,000 per hour. This is very hard to test because it gets extremely laggy when I go over there now that everything's working. On the bamboo side, you need 792,000 bamboo per hour. That's because you need 4 bamboo for each cactus, because it takes 4 of the bamboo to smelt 1 item. And this production over here is about 960,000 per hour, which is part of Ilmango's description on how fast these farms work. Each one of these does about 60,000. Obviously, you also have your output of 198,000 cactus green per hour, which also does make this the fastest cactus green farm if you need it, although I think it's much more worth it for the XP. Now, as I said, this is really a proof of concept. I will tell you, I was surprised at how friendly this whole thing is to my machine. When I first built this, I thought this was going to be mostly a slideshow, but this is actually a viable build in your world, although there's no real reason to go this crazy. One of these layers will output about 18,000 XP per hour, and because of these zero-tick mechanisms, you can actually leave this in your spawn chunks and it will run continuously, which will provide some rather huge XP boosts when you need them. By comparison, the only farms faster than this are maxed out farms, like a maxed out Enderman farm, which can top out at 60,000. The Guardian, I said, is the number 1 at 180,000. And you can optimize some zombie pigman farms up to a little over 150,000. But beyond those sort of optimized farms or completely sterilized worlds where you can have some insane rates for some other type farms, this is actually, even just the one slice, a pretty impressive contender. You can build this all the way up and get as high XP rates as your server will take. So feel free to take the world download and build this up as much as your computer can stand. If you found this interesting, I would appreciate a like, and for more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for stopping by.